Source experiencing itself as you. Coherent field transmission, beyond spiritual narratives. To understand this, there are 4 aspects. 1. The field. 2. A life that is currently being lived. 3. The collective. 4. A life that has been lived and ended. These are not separate things, but they are distinct aspects of the same unfolding. The field. There is a field, without edge, without boundary. All possible experience rests within it. Nothing sits outside it. Nothing stands apart from it. Everything that is felt, perceived, thought, or lived arises within this. The field is vast, far beyond what any individual life could ever consciously hold at once. A life that is currently being lived right now. You are an individualized expression of that field. And a life is being lived through you. In every moment, there are millions of signals available. Sensory input, thoughts, emotional responses, environmental data, internal states, relational cues. All of this is being processed, most of it unconsciously. The conscious mind only takes in a very small portion, a few dozen signals at most. Not because more is not available, but because more cannot be held in conscious awareness at once. If it were, the body could not accommodate it. It would be overwhelming, like trying to run the entire ocean through a garden hose. The volume is too great. And so, experience is filtered, not as something imposed, but as something necessary. Only a small portion of what is available comes into view. The field remains vast. What is lived is a narrowed stream of that vastness. How the filtering forms. This filtering takes shape over time. Through what is lived, how something is felt, how it is responded to, how it is interpreted, how it is held. Patterns form, and what is returned to again and again becomes easier to enter. Like a path through grass, walked once, barely visible. Walked repeatedly, it flattens. It becomes the easier path. The individual system. Within you, this forms a system, a patterning of pathways. You can think of it as a light board. Each pathway a way of thinking, feeling, responding, perceiving. And when a pathway is activated, it lights. Some lights are bright, used often, easily entered. Some are dim. Some are not yet lit. Over time, this forms a template within you, a living configuration of pathways through which life is experienced. Not fixed, not singular, but a current arrangement of what is most active and most accessible. And this template is what allows experience to take shape. It shapes what is noticed, what stands out, what feels true, what feels automatic, what is easiest to enter. And it varies across life. There may be areas that feel open, clear, fluid, and others that feel reactive, repetitive, or constrained. not because you are one thing, but because different pathways have formed in different areas. So you do not experience everything that exists. You experience what your system most readily allows. The collective. The collective is often misunderstood. It is not a field, a layer, a dimension, a cloud of energy, or a shared mind. It is not a combined structure that grows or gathers. It is simply what is currently active across many people. The most common: thought patterns, emotional responses, beliefs, interpretations, ways of meeting life. You can think of this in the same way as the light board, not as one shared board, but as many individuals lighting similar pathways, the same lights appearing across many systems. When certain patterns are lived again and again across many people, those same pathways light more often. Not merging, not becoming a mass, just more familiar, more established, more easily entered. And so, those same pathways are easier to access within individual experience. Not because they are imposed, but because they are already well used. Like a path through grass, the more it is walked, the easier it becomes to follow. And where emotion is strong, these pathways are reinforced further. Not because emotion spreads outward, but because what is strongly felt is more easily repeated. And what is repeated becomes easier to enter. So patterns that are both repeated and strongly felt tend to become the most dominant. And when those same pathways are lighting across many individuals, they can feel natural, obvious, automatic. The whole of what is currently being lived. So there is a life being lived now within a vast field, filtered through a system shaped by experience and influenced by what is most familiar across many. Not separate, not merged, an individualized expression within a vast whole. Like the ocean taking shape as a wave, distinct in form, never separate in substance. A life that has been lived and ended. And then, there are lives that have been lived and completed, each one forming its own pattern. How it was felt, how it unfolded, how it met life, how it responded, how it loved. Not as fragments, but as a whole, a signature of how that life was experienced. When that life comes to an end, the embodied expression is no longer lived in the same way. And yet, what was formed does not vanish. It remains as the way that life was experienced, a patterned way experience took shape. And at times, these patterns can become active, not as the life continuing as before, but as a recognizable way that experience once moved, felt, recognized, interpreted. And when someone is thought of, what becomes active may be more than memory alone. It can be the patterned way that life was experienced, how it felt, how it was met, how it moved. And so what is felt is that pattern becoming active. And so, what is a life? Not something separate, not something set apart, but a way source experiences itself, a way the vast knows itself in form, a way what has no boundary is lived as something defined. As a wave is not other than the ocean, so what appears as a life is not separate from what gives rise to it. The form may seem distinct. It may rise, take shape, move in its own way, and yet it has never left what it is made of. Nothing has been divided. This, appearing as a life. And so, what you are is not contained within the life that is seen, nor reduced to the form it takes. You are not separate from it. You are that within which it appears, and what you are has never been less than that.